Part 33. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 321. Chapter 321 Attractive Conditions. Qian Yuman pointed to the phone in her hand and raised her eyebrows at Tang Yuj. You heard it too, so during this period, it's better for you to keep a distance from me and don't get too close. Tang Yuj sat up from the bed suddenly, with a look of displeasure on his face, and shook his head awkwardly and ignored her. Husband, Qian Yuman deliberately pretended to be pitiful and cute, grabbing his clothes and winking at him pitifully. Tang Yuj still had an indifferent expression, looking at Qian Yuman with eyes full of resentment. Are you going to pretend to be a couple with my brother again? Qian Yuman nodded and shrugged helplessly. I don't want to either, you're angry. Tang Yuj nodded vigorously, pointed at his monster face, and said very narcissistically. To think that I, Tang Yuj, have lived for 25 years and yet I want to hide in a corner and be your little lover. Do you know my resentment? I finally chased you to play with you, but in the end you still left me alone. Qian Yuman raised her eyebrows, seeing the resentful expression on his face, and rushed towards Tang Yuj, turning over and pressing him down. The corner of her mouth raised a charming smile that charmed all living beings, and her fingers gently brushed his face. Mr. Tang, I know you are unhappy and have resentment in your heart, so the slave family will definitely compensate you well. Her fingers hooked his tie and gently pulled it towards her body. Their cheeks were very close and their red lips seemed to be touching, which made Tang Yuj lose all his anger. Hold her into his arms and kiss her red lips deeply. After the kiss ended, Tang Yuj gasped and held the woman in his arms, his eyes becoming even more resentful. Honey, you are playing with fire. You clearly know that you are not feeling well right now, yet you still seduced me. I just messed around with you because I didn't know how to do it last time. I won't be seduced by you casually this time. An evil smile appeared in the corners of Qian Yuman's eyes, her hands deliberately bullying him and seducing him. Really? Can you bear it? The veins on Tang Yuj's forehead popped out instantly, and his eyes almost popped out. Honey, do you know what you are doing? I will transform into a wolf. When Tang Yuj spoke, his breathing became rapid and the skin all over his body was extremely sensitive. Husband, can you help me hide Fei Shen's brother-in-law? As long as you promise me, I will play with you. It's suitable for pregnant women. Suitable for pregnant women, Tang Yuj's eyes lit up. Could it be, the one he had been looking forward to for a long time? Tang Yuj's mind was already filled with thoughts, and he didn't even know how many times he had to swallow his saliva. Husband, can you help me? By the way, collude with your friends and cover for me. I promise this is the last time. When I get back, I will let Lily I sort things out, and then I will meet you at home. Parents. Another benefit is that for the next month, I will be obedient and do everything you want. Qian Yuman's hands were beginning to become dishonest, and Tang Yuj, who couldn't resist a hint of provocation, completely lost his mind. Okay, whatever my wife says is fine. Tang Yuj nodded like a fool. His wife was so compromising, so he graciously accepted her service, and was happy that there would be a new breakthrough in the next month. Honey, let's continue to explore each other. Qian Yuman knew it was even more charming. With a gentle push of her slender hand, Tang Yuj fell on the soft bed, with his limbs spread wide, waiting for his wife to serve him. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 322. Chapter 322 Full of happiness. As two people who are still restless during pregnancy are busy, they can always find different ways. Even if they are pregnant, they cannot stop them from enjoying life and experiencing the fun that belongs to the couple. A certain man who was about to become a father was also helpless. He wanted to refuse, but he really didn't think about it. However, A certain woman who managed to avoid seasickness and was a dragon seduced him to give up his struggle, and he couldn't push her away. Open. By the time the two of them woke up again, it was already evening and the sun was gradually going down. Tianyuman was excited to get up and watch the sunset. She has never seen a sunset on the sea. Watching a sunset over the endless sea definitely has a different feeling. Tanyuj was feeling relaxed at the moment, lazily wearing a suit and tie, his eyes always falling on Tianyuman. Tianyuman felt Tanyuj's gaze, raised her eyes and looked back, smiling brightly. The sun was gradually going down, and their room could just see the scenery outside the window. The golden sunlight shone on Tanyuj's evil face. He, who was already outstanding in appearance, was now like a from outside the sky, shining brightly, swallowing up the peaceful hearts of others, which was rare for Tianyuman. He lowered his head a little shyly, his heart beating rapidly. Oh my God, Tanyuj is so handsome, and her husband is so handsome. Tianyuman, who likes watching handsome guys, was so handsome by Tanyuj at this moment that her heartbeat accelerated, almost beating out of her heart. At this time, she was very satisfied, and a full sense of happiness almost overflowed from her heart. She never thought that one day she would be so happy, and she never thought that a simple look at each other could bring her such a great sense of satisfaction and joy. A sense of belonging. It turns out that this is the feeling of liking each other with the person you love. It turns out that marriage can be so happy, and she is lucky enough to be able to work with him for a lifetime. When Tianyuman lowered her head shyly, Tanyuj frowned slightly and forced himself to focus on the sparkling sea, with a thoughtful look in his eyes. Honey, why are you lingering? The sun is going to set soon. Why don't you take pictures? Tanyuj held the SLR camera in his hand, walked over and put his arm around her shoulders, taking her to watch the sunset in the vest. Tianyuman shook her head quickly, took the SLR camera from his hand, stretched out her index finger and waved it in front of him. You can't go with me. If your brother sees it, he might misunderstand what we have. Tanyuj acted like a child in an instant and must go with Tianyuman. Tianyuman looked at the 1.88-meter tall man in front of her, and laughter like silver bells kept overflowing from her mouth. If you continue to make trouble, I won't take you there. The benefits I gave you just now are not in vain. Just stay with your brothers. Tanyuj cried. He is busy picking up girls, and Xiaotian also has a female companion. I am so bored. Isn't there still Murong yet? Tanyuj immediately cried when he thought of Murong yet. Honey, please let me go. Xiao and I are together and he will annoy us to death. Recently, this guy has taken a liking to our Lilia. He pesters me every day to ask what Lilia likes. How could I possibly know what Lilia likes? He was almost annoyed to death by that nagging Murong yet. It turned out that being annoyed by him for the past 10 years had been nothing more than childish. In the end, Tanyuj still couldn't follow Tianyuman. For Chi Lilia's sake, he was destined not to be able to stay with Tianyuman often on the cruise ship this time, and was destined to sleep with pillows in his arms. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 323. Chapter 323. The situation can always get messy. 1. Tianyuman appeared on the deck carrying a SLR camera. There were many men and women on the deck at the moment. There was also a handsome man holding a guitar and playing songs and humming the melody, which made the deck under the sunset even more beautiful and romantic. Tianyuman, who had rested for a while, was full of life again, looking at the beautiful sunset with a bright smile. Her arrival attracted the attention of many people. Fortunately, the participants this time brought many beautiful female companions, so it would not attract everyone's attention in an exaggerated manner. Note, but he was still noticed by many people, and some even came up to chat with him. Beauty, what's your name? My name is David. Can you dance with me in the sunset? A young Western man struck up a handsome pose and struck up a conversation with Tianyuman. Just as Tianyuman was about to refuse politely, she saw a familiar figure standing on the deck, wearing a white suit and a tall back. It was not Tang Feishan. The smile on Tianyuman's face instantly faded. Her fiery and innocent acting skills made her exude a cold temperament in just 1 second, making her feel unapproachable. David, who was chatting with her, didn't expect Tianyuman to change her face as soon as she said she would. He nodded boringly and left. It was too obvious. Tang Feishan happened to turn around at this time and saw Qilal standing indifferently on her vest blowing the wind. His eyes lit up slightly and he walked quickly to her side and spoke softly with concern. Lili, are you coming up too? It's a bit windy here, and I don't have a coat on me. After saying that, he took off his suit jacket and put it gently on her body with gentle movements. Feeling the warmth on her coat, Tianyuman's expression warmed slightly. Brother-in-law is considerate and gentle enough, yes, yes. Tianyuman held up the SLR in his hand and looked at the sun, which had lost a small piece of it. I'm here to take pictures. Tang Feishan looked at the sunset with gentle eyes. I know you like sunsets, so I have taken many beautiful photos of you. Qilali likes sunset very much. She likes to travel to various places around the world and take pictures of sunsets under different beautiful scenery. The last time she got lost from the expedition team during a wilderness expedition, she was looking for a good angle and location to take pictures of the sunset, and accidentally got separated. Influenced by her younger sister, Tianyuman also likes to watch the sunset, but she is not as enthusiastic as her younger sister. Tang Feishan's hand naturally hugged her shoulders. Tianyuman's body stiffened slightly. She couldn't forget that it was Lei now, so her body slowly relaxed. Tang Fei hugged her deeply, keenly feeling her unnaturalness, and there was a hint of sadness under her unchanging smile. I'll go to the bow of the ship to take some photos. Tianyuman avoided Tang Feishan's affectionate moves without leaving any trace, climbed the stairs to the top with her camera, and looked at the sunset to take several photos. Her eyes passed by Tang Feishan and saw the way Tang Feishan had been staring at her. Tianyuman felt very embarrassed. She had gotten along with Tang Feishan several times before as Qilili. The two behaved well and he always acted like a gentleman, so she was able to disguise herself easily. In the past, she felt that their relationship as a young couple was a bit bland, without passionate expressions and actions, but she could also feel Tang Feishan's warm and watery emotions. Today she could sensitively feel that her brother-in-law looked at her differently. It should be said that the way he looked at Lili was different from before. It was no longer calm and warm, but more possessive. It wasn't until the sun completely set that Tianyuman left the deck, but Tang Feishan was beside him. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 324. Chapter 324. The situation can always get messy too. The two of them didn't say much in silence, and seemed a little quiet. Tianyuman didn't know what to say, and knowing that her sister didn't talk much, she didn't want to say too much to reveal her true identity. She didn't speak, and Tang Feishan, who knew Qilili, was also silent. The two quietly came outside the room where Tianyuman lived. Tianyuman swiped the card to open the door. She took a step, and Tang Feishan followed suit to go in. She stopped and turned around to face Tang Feishan. With a cold face, she took off her suit and handed it to him, speaking in a calm tone. I'll go in and change into a dress. Tang Feishan nodded slightly, smiled like a spring breeze, took back his steps, and said considerately. I'll go back and change into a suit. You go in and rest for a while. I'll pick you up later. Good. There is a welcome dance in the evening, which lasts for 2 hours. It is to welcome the distinguished guests. It is also an occasion for the elites in society to get to know each other. It is a disguised blind date occasion. After closing the door, Tianyuman breathed a sigh of relief, the coldness on his face instantly faded, and he slumped down on the sofa. I'm so tired, I've never felt so tired. Pretending to be a sister, she was simply creating a problem for herself. If she had known she would meet Tang Feishan on the deck, she would not have gone up. However, after getting along many times, Qin Menu felt that her sister should confess to Tang Feishan. Tang Feishan has a deep affection for Li Li and should be able to accept that she is not pregnant. The only reason is that Li Li is afraid, cherishes her feelings too much and doesn't dare to take a gamble, which makes her more and more entangled. Tianyuman changed into a dress, which was given to her by Tang Yuj not long ago. Since Tianyuman became pregnant, her cup size has increased to D, so this blue tube top long dress even more highlights her proud bust. There are countless fine crystal embellishments on the front, and the dress reaches to the ground. The special cutting on the left side will reveal her slender legs according to her movements, which is charming. After hesitating for a long time, she still put on low-heeled sandals, not daring to wear them too high. Not to mention that I should pay more attention to it, Tang Yuj, the fussy father-to-be, must be screaming. When she put on a delicate necklace, she noticed the wedding ring on her hand, and her face immediately darkened. Damn it, I forgot to take it off. Tianyuman quickly took off the ring that Tang Yuj put on her before. I don't know if Tang Feishan noticed it just now. There was nothing wrong with his expression. He probably didn't see it, maybe treat it as an ordinary accessory. To cover up, she took out her jewelry box, picked out 2 beautiful decorative rings, and wore them on her ring finger and index finger respectively. Not long after changing into clothes, there was a knock on the door. Tianyuman knew that it must be Tang Feishan who came to pick her up. She rubbed her cheeks, her bright smile faded, she showed an indifferent expression, and slowly opened the door. Tang Feishan outside the door saw Tianyuman's cool dress, and his eyes became gentler. Very beautiful. Thank you. With a faint smile on his lips, he hooked Tang Feishan's outstretched arm and walked slowly towards the dance venue. Tianyuman appeared at the dance party hooking up with Tang Feishan, which naturally attracted the attention of countless people. Everyone whispered to each other and wondered who the person next to Tang Feishan was. Of course, there were also people who recognized Qilil and immediately spread her identity. Knowing that Qilili would marry Tang Feishan in a month, the man who was amazed by her felt a little regretful. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 325. Chapter 325. The situation can always get messy. 3. Feeling envious looks coming from all directions, Tang Feishan felt a sense of pride, and the smile in his eyes became even stronger. Let's go in. Tang Feishan brought Tianyuman into the dance scene. As the vice president of Tang Dynasty Group and the next successor of Tang Dynasty Group, his appearance immediately attracted the attention of many people, who all wanted to fight with Tang Dynasty Group. Men and women with good relationships come forward to talk to see if they can have career cooperation. Tianyuman knew that all she needed to do at this moment was to make a beautiful vase, stay quietly next to Tang Feishan, mingling among countless social elites, watching her brother-in-law beside her talking to the wealthy elites, and invisibly exuding, there was an aura that he didn't have when he was next to Qilili, and there was a charming charm that was aloof yet close to his eyes. His appearance is equally excellent, but he has a big brother who is too good-looking. He always attracts people wherever he goes, which makes Tang Feishan look much darker next to Tang Yuj. At this moment, without Tang Yuj by his side, he naturally shines brightly. He always has a smile on his face, he is approachable and tactful, and it is easy to put people at ease. Tianyuman was very bored as Tang Feishan took her around. She had already begun to complain in her heart, and could only pass the time by complaining about the appearance of the person he came up to talk to. Who makes her hate this kind of boring social interaction the most? She just feels hungry and wants to find some delicious food to fill her stomach. It was so boring that she looked at Tang Feishan countless times. While dealing with the social elites who came forward, Tang Feishan looked at his girlfriend beside him. Hungry? Qian Yuman nodded, touched her belly, and unconsciously showed an innocent look in her eyes. Without waiting for Tang Feishan to speak, he went to an acquaintance, and Tang Feishan rose said. You go find something to eat? I'll go find you later. Qian Yuman was instantly elated and was so happy that she could only cheer for joy. Finally, she no longer had to listen to a bunch of hypocritical words from them. Qian Yuman nodded indifferently and immediately walked to the food area. The food was buffet style. She took a small plate and kept taking food from her own plate. Then she took several plates of food to the corner to eat alone. She only took one bite and was amazed by how delicious it was. As expected of a luxury cruise ship under the Emgrand Group, the chefs who make the dim sum are basically the same chefs at the Emgrand Hotel. The taste is so delicious that you can't wait to eat it on your tongue too. Eating delicious food and listening to the beautiful violin and piano ensemble, my body and mind were instantly healed. It was indeed a ball for the rich. Even the background music of the ball was so beautiful, especially the music played by the violinist, which made the worries in her heart these past few days disappear completely with the passionate music. Qian Yuman has been hungry for a long time. In order to make a vase, she can only grieve her stomach. Now that she was liberated, it was completely different. The food on the 3 plates she brought was wiped out in a moment. She didn't have enough to eat, so she was about to get up to get it again, when she saw a commotion at the door. She looked over curiously and saw that they were Tangyu's good brothers, and Tangyuj was not among them. However, the appearance of the 3 of them at the same time immediately aroused the discussion of countless people. Most people were surprised that there were 3 of them on the cruise ship today, and they had not received any news before. With their appearance, the atmosphere of the ball immediately became heated, and countless women looked at the charming scenery over there with infatuation. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 326. Chapter 326. The situation can always get messy for Qian Yuman couldn't help but look at the handsome guys and become infatuated. Even if she was married, it didn't stop her from appreciating all kinds of beautiful men in the world. She had to admit that these 3 handsome guys were so charming, with different styles and different auras. One thing is the same, they are all outstanding and top talents in society, and they are all handsome guys. Especially the handsome mixed-race guy with blue eyes, Lan Tianlu, with his cold gaze and natural aristocratic temperament, is so charming. Ji Fan's sunny and friendly smile was in sharp contrast to Lan Tianlu's deserted look. Coupled with the tall Murongye behind them, it was difficult for them to be ignored when several of them appeared at the same time. Only. Where did Mr. Tang go? Qian Yuman murmured to himself. Shouldn't Tangyuj be with them? Why did I see the 3 of them but not Tangyuj? Do you miss me? A magnetic and pleasant voice sounded in her ears. Qian Yuman was startled by the sudden voice. She turned around in surprise and saw Tangyuj dragging 2 plates in his hand, as if offering treasures. Hand it to her. Qian Yuman pouted and hit him angrily. Did you scare me on purpose? Tangyuj glanced at the clean plates on the table and said with a smile. It's not enough to eat. Sit next to her and push the food in front of her. Qian Yuman thanked her repeatedly and happily ate the food brought by Tangyuj. Looking at the way she ate, it was clear that she could eat a lot more. I am afraid that Tangyuj brought this food. Tanyuj took out his mobile phone and immediately called Murong Ye. Xiao, pick some more food that my wife likes to eat. Tanyuj reported the names of a bunch of food and snacks, and Qian Yuman couldn't help but raise her head and look at him. Mr. Tang, how do you know I like to eat these? It's not surprising that he knew a few of them, but she didn't even realize that she knew some of her favorite foods. When she thought about it carefully, he reported that these were some of the delicacies she often eats. What do you think? Tanyuj leaned lazily on the sofa and looked at the dance floor. Ha ha ha. Don't love me too much, it will scare me. You actually know my taste better than me, Qian Yuman teased sweetly. Tanyuj just smiled and did not respond. Qian Yuman immersed herself in diligently eating the pile of delicacies brought by Murong Ye, and finally her stomach was almost full. At this time, there was some commotion at the entrance of the ball. Qian Yuman looked over curiously. Is there another handsome guy? At the entrance of the ball, two handsome men appeared. One of them had a youthful and sunny smile, and the other was a handsome man with a gentle and jade-like appearance and an elegant temperament. Their appearance attracted the attention of countless people. Most of the people present were surprised, and they all sighed that he was indeed Mr. Tang of the Emigrant Group, and he was the only one who had the ability to invite the two principals of the Eastern Group at the same time. Their appearance is slightly inferior to that of Lan Tianlu. The reason why they have attracted countless people's attention is because their identity and background are not just ordinary businessmen. The chairman of Dongfang Group has an unusual predecessor. He is a multinational group founded by Dongfang Qishan, the leader of the world's underworld organization who was watched by the police in countless countries, after he washed his hands in the Golden Basin. They are ruthless in what they do, and have been competitors for many years with Lan Group, where Lan Tianla is located. Qian Yuman almost exclaimed when she saw the elegant and handsome man clearly. It's Brother Wang, my God. Why is Brother Wang also on board? This ship is so valuable that it actually brings together everyone she knows. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 327. Chapter 327 Jealousy 1. When Qian Yuman saw Wang Tiankai, she was so surprised that her mouth could be opened so much that she could stuff a duck egg. Most of the people on this cruise ship are top young rich people. From the noise caused by the appearance of Wang Tiankai and his friends, you can guess that his identity and background are definitely unusual. After meeting again, she once asked Wang Tiankai what he was doing now, and he just used a few simple words to describe business. She knows that with Wang Tiankai's wisdom, doing business will never be a small business, and now it seems that this small business is not small at all. Qian Yuman was not the only one who was not calm. Tang Yuj, who was originally in a lazy posture next to her, couldn't help but sit up when he saw the two people appearing at the door. Looking deeply at the two people at the door, he couldn't help but clench his hands under the table. Wang Tiankai's eyes quickly swept across the dance venue and landed in the direction of Qian Yuman. He smiled at her, and Qian Yuman smiled in return. At this time, there was another small commotion at the dance venue. Next to the piano in the middle of the dance, the violinist who played the beautiful melody suddenly ran away. Tang Yuz's friend Lan Tianlu quickly chased after him. The beautiful background music was like this disappeared. Qian Yuman was a little disappointed. The violinist just played very beautifully, but she hadn't heard enough yet. Let the indifferent Lan Tianlu chase him out, which made her unable to resist gossiping and approached Tang Yuj to ask. Do you know your Xiao Tian and the violinist just now? They look very familiar. Tang Yuj recovered from his shock and looked for his friend who had disappeared without a trace. He did not notice the small commotion caused by Blue Sky Law Firm. The one who plays the piano? That may be Xiaoshan's fiancé. I remember that his fiancé is a violin genius. Tang Yuz's tone was a little cold, and his eyes kept focusing on one place, moving with the figures he paid attention to. Qian Yuman turned around and looked at the expressionless Tang Yuj with a frown. What's wrong with him? She could feel his mood change, becoming restless and bad, exuding a melancholy and unapproachable aura. Tang Yuj's sudden change made her uncomfortable for a while. It was the first time she saw him treat her with such an indifferent attitude. Mr. Tang, what's wrong with you? She called softly. His appearance at this moment made her a little scared. There was a restless factor in her heart, and she was worried that something might happen to him. Tang Yuj looked at Qian Yuman's worried eyes and smiled at the corner of his mouth. I'm fine. Even though Tang Yuj was smiling, she, who was sensitive, could still feel that his smile was unreal, like a fake smile that was fake but not smiling. The smile did not reach his eyes. There were many complicated emotions in those eyes, and she could not read them clearly. She thought he was a heartless person who laughed and laughed no matter what he faced, and would be shameless to achieve his goals, but she had never seen him like he is now. He stopped talking and stayed with her quietly. Qian Yuman mentally organized how to ask. She really cared about him and wanted to know why he was unhappy. At this moment, a figure gradually approached them and stood in front of Qian Yuman. Wang Tiankai has an elegant temperament, a smile as gentle as jade, and an invitation with grace and grace. This beautiful woman, would you be honored to invite you to dance? Qian Yuman turned sideways and looked at the palm stretched out in front of her, and then looked directly at Tang Yuj, whose face became more and more solemn beside her. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 328. Chapter 328 Jealousy 2. Why is he getting more and more unhappy? What happened to him? He didn't answer when asked, and said she was overthinking. Tang Yuj's identity was not discovered. Because Qian Yuman had a low-key personality, he specially chose a dark corner to dine. The light here is slightly dim. Due to the angle, the light he is standing in is covered by the curtain on the side, and his figure is completely hidden in the darkness. In addition, he leans to the side specially, and it is impossible to see clearly without looking carefully. There is a man sitting next to her. She is a woman, let alone recognizing his identity. Wang Tiankai didn't see clearly who the person next to Qian Yuman was. He was here to invite her to dance, and it didn't matter who was next to her. Qian Yuman opened her mouth and almost called out Wang Tiankai's name, but thinking that her current identity was Qi Lilii, it was impossible to recognize him. Qian Yuman looked at Wang Tiankai indifferently, unmoved. In fact, she had already started complaining in her heart, and countless barrages flew through her mind. What the hell, why did she have such a familiar person appear inexplicably during a simple luxury cruise trip? First he met Tang Feishan, then he met Tang Yuj and his gang, and now he met Wang Tiankai. It was a complete mess, and it couldn't be any more messy. Is everyone going to this cruise ship? Could it be that this ship was a magnet that attracted a bunch of people who knew her and Lilii? Wang Tiankai's smile became warmer. Seeing that she didn't respond, he directly took her hand and pulled her onto the dance floor to join the other people dancing. Their dancing together naturally attracted the attention of countless people, including Tang Feishan, who was chatting with the company's long-term customers. Qian Yuman didn't expect that Wang Tiankai would take her away directly in front of Tang Yuj. She didn't even have time to react before she was pulled away by Wang Tiankai. She quickly looked in the direction of Tang Yuj, fearing that he would be jealous and rob someone directly. When Tang Feishan saw her, the misunderstanding would become even more unclear. Qian Yuman was afraid that Tang Yuj would move forward impulsively, but she found that he was watching them dance motionless. He was still sitting in the same lazy posture just now. She was in the dark and couldn't see his expression clearly, let alone what he was thinking. What? She felt a little uncomfortable. He was extremely calm. His personality shouldn't be so calm. She thought he would be jealous and rob someone. Lilii, it's not good for you to ignore me like this. Now you are my dance partner. Wang Tiankai pulled Qian Yuman around in a circle so that her back was facing Tang Yuj, one hand intertwined, and the other putting his hands on her slender waist. Qian Yuman looked at Wang Tiankai, and he didn't seem to recognize her as Qian Yuman. You know me, Qian Yuman pretended to be surprised. Wang Tiankai chuckled. You look exactly like Manman, of course I can recognize you. Who are you? I am Wang, the one who lived next door to your house when I was a child. Qian Yuman pretends to be clear. Haven't seen you for a long time. Haven't seen you for a long time. It was not surprising that Wang Tiankai could tell that she was Qi Lilei. Qian Yuman had a cold face throughout the dance, and her temperament was quite different from before. Brother Wang naturally thought that she was his younger sister Qi Lilei. I still remember that when they were young, what she and Lilei liked to do the most was to challenge Wang Tiankai to see who they were. Because they can deceive countless people, they will fail every time in front of Wang Tiankai. When they exchanged identities and got along with Wang Tiankai, he remained silent most of the time. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 329. Chapter 329 Jealousy 3. He never revealed that they had exchanged identities, but from their subtle interactions, she discovered that after exchanging identities with her sister, he would become closer to her disguised as Lilei. As time went by, she would take the initiative to ask can he tell the difference between her and Lilei. The conclusion came to the conclusion that he really knew who was who. After knowing this, Qian Yuman and Qi Lilei, who refused to admit defeat, their favorite thing to do from now on was how to successfully deceive the clever Wang Tiankai. They also continued to strengthen their ability to disguise each other through countless failures, but they always ended in failure in front of Wang Tiankai. Unexpectedly, 11 years later, Wang Tiankai could no longer distinguish between himself and Qi Lilei. Qian Yuman felt proud that she could finally deceive brother Wang. Her dream for many years had finally come true. Qian Yuman and Wang Tiankai danced on the dance floor. The two did not talk too much, they just danced intently. She was actually very gossipy and curious about Wang Tiankai's identity. She raised her head slightly and looked at Wang Tiankai. He lowered his head at the same time, and their eyes met, although they were smiling at each other. Lilei is still as indifferent as before. When she met me whom she hadn't seen for many years, she didn't ask a single question. Wang Tiankai sighed regretfully, but she couldn't hear the slightest hint of depression in his voice, which was obviously a joke. What is brother Wang doing recently? Chasing women. Wang Tiankai smiled brightly. Qian Yuman didn't expect him to answer like this and couldn't help but look at him a few more times. Pursue women? Isn't he single? From the previous conversation, she heard that the woman he liked already had a partner. Did he have a new goal? The two danced gracefully on the dance floor, chatting while dancing. Who was the little boy who was with you just now? Qian Yuman changed the topic and asked about the boy who came in with him. She had just noticed that the boy who came with him looked younger than her. My immediate boss's son Dongfang Xiang, I am accompanying him to chase women this time, Wang Tiankai said with a smile. Qian Yuman couldn't help but look at him again. It turned out that chasing women was not that he wanted to chase women, but that he wanted to help his boss's son chase women. The song ended and the next song was a dance music with a cheerful rhythm. Qian Yuman only knew how to play a simple waltz and had no idea at all about dance music with a cheerful style. Qian Yuman is excellent in everything, but she has a headache when it comes to dancing, and often has the same hands and feet. Even the simple waltz took a long time to practice without stepping on others. The two of them had just exited the dance floor, and Tang Feishan, who looked a little unhappy, immediately appeared next to her. "Can you give me my fiancé back?" He walked over and said something politely. Without waiting for Wang Tiankai to respond, he put his arm around her waist and declared his sovereignty to Wang Tiankai. Wang Tiankai's eyes fell on Tang Feishan and he raised his eyebrows slightly. "You are, who you are, I suddenly can't remember." Wang Tiankai's annoyed look made Tang Feishan's face darken. Qian Yuman saw that he did it on purpose. With Wang Tiankai's intelligence, how could he forget what he had remembered in his mind? "I know you, President Wang of Eastern Group. My name is Tang Feishan, and I am the fiancé of the beautiful woman next to me." "Oh. Tang Feishan, is he really your fiancé?" Wang Tiankai's eyes fell on her. "What does Wang Appa want to do? Is he here to cause trouble?" End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 330. Chapter 330. Beautiful Girl Xiaoling 1. Wang Tiankai pointed at Qian Yuman, curled his lips and nodded in interest. His eyes fell on Qian Yuman. His eyes were deep and there was something in his words. Wang Tiankai's words made Tang Feishan very unhappy. What is true and how could it be false? "Brother Wang, please stop teasing Fei Chen." Qian Yuman immediately smoothed things over with a light smile. "Fei Chen, actually Brother Wang and I have known each other for a long time. We are neighbors who grew up together. We haven't seen each other for more than 10 years and we just met again." Hearing Qi Liliai's explanation, Tang Feishan's expression became slightly better, and he slowly returned to his gentle look. He looked at his fiancée beside him with gentle eyes and asked considerately, "Tired?" Qian Yuman nodded. "I'm a little tired. I want to go back to my room and rest." In fact, she wanted to escape reality. This dance party was poisonous, and this cruise ship was even more poisonous. Since she was full, she had better go back to her room to rest early so as not to have to deal with this chaotic situation. "Brother Wang, let's contact you when we have time." Qian Yuman nodded slightly and slowly returned to the room accompanied by Tang Feishan. When she arrived at her residence, Qian Yuman realized that she had forgotten to leave her room card with her when she went out. Without the room card, she couldn't get in at all. "You wait for me here for a while, and I'll find someone to open a room for you." Tang Feishan gave a few instructions. Qian Yuman nodded slightly and waited patiently for his return. In fact, she didn't want to go back to her room to rest at all, and planned to sneak out to play later. The cruise ship was sailing slowly on the sea. Qian Yuman slowly walked on the deck, the sea breeze blowing slightly on her face. Hearing the footsteps, Qian Yuman looked back and saw a delicate and beautiful girl walking past her angrily, muttering something to her mind. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of her profile, which looked a little familiar, but he couldn't remember who it was for the moment. It's not that her memory is bad. She has a photographic memory and it's impossible that she can't remember who it is. Could it be that she has been pregnant for 3 years and her memory has deteriorated? Qian Yuman couldn't help but step forward to see the little girl's face clearly. As soon as she got closer, she felt sick in her mouth. "Vomit, vomit, vomit." She quickly ran to the side of the boat and retched into the sea. The nausea came suddenly and violently. She vomited for a while before she stopped feeling nauseated. The beautiful girl admiring the scenery on the side was sighing at the pleasant scenery. She heard a series of evil sounds and turned around in confusion. She noticed Qian Yuman holding onto the railing and retching toward the sea. The beautiful girl asked kindly, "Are you seasick? I have sour plums here that are specially designed to cure seasickness. Do you want to eat them?" Qian Yuman felt much more comfortable. She covered her mouth and turned back. She was about to say thank you, but she paused when the girl's surprised voice sounded. "Senior sister!" the beautiful girl exclaimed happily. When the beautiful girl exclaimed, Qian Yuman remembered who the person in front of her was. She was Xiaoling, a junior high school girl she met when she was a high school student in City S. That was Xiaoling, who was in the first grade of junior high school and was a famous violin genius girl in the school. Haven't seen her for many years, and she is even more beautiful than before. No wonder she didn't immediately remember who she was just now. God is so powerful that he actually allowed her to meet an acquaintance again, but it was a pity that it was not the time to recognize each other. She smiled coldly and arrogantly, with a look of alienation on her beautiful face, and took the sour plum she handed over to express her thanks. Thanks. Xiaoling said with a smile and a little puzzled. Senior, what's wrong with you? Why are you so cold to me? Ouch. I'm so envious of little Manman being surrounded by male idols, so envious. End of this chapter.